What's up, guys? It's Midwestern RC, and today we are going to be talking about the TRX4M, the Furatech brushless. I think this is called the Micro Komodo kit. It's their only brushless system available. I think it's the only one you're going to need. This is a Reefs 99 Micro. I actually have the 179 in here. I'm going to be using this for a different project coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. This is going to be a lot of fun. The car that I'm putting into, that's all you're getting for the spoiler alert. If intros bore you and you want to get to the action, I will have the timestamps in the comments right here. It is January 2nd, I think, and believe it or not, it's 45 degrees out in the Midwest. This time last year, I think I was ice fishing, actually. I saw that on my Snapchat memories. But anyways, we're going to get straight into this. So the Furatech brushless Komodo kit for the TRX4M. It's not necessary, but if you want to enjoy this thing, it's necessary. So hear me out. The stock electronics I actually have hidden in the casing, because I already installed this brushed motor and the amazing Traxxas electronics, which of course is a 2-in-1 ESC receiver combo. So I'm not a fan of this stuff at all. So it actually made me hate crawling with this thing, because it was like playing an old video game where it's like 1 second it's here, 1 second it's here, 1 second it's here, 1 second it's here. That's annoying. So I want it to be super smooth, going through everything like butter. Now with the Furatech brushless system, it does just that. And I'm going to demonstrate that right now. Now you do need, because Traxxas decided to make a 2-in-1 ESC receiver combo, you will need your own receiver transmitter. I had a stock Traxxas TQI lying around with a Traxxas TQI receiver. So that's what I bound it to. You could have done an SR215 and a DX5. You can do an SR215 and a DX3. You can go to Jenny's RC, or you can go to EVS Hobbies, and you can get takeoff parts and get a remote and a receiver for very cheap as well. So keep that in mind. But you got to pay to play, right? So I am going to demonstrate, and I'm going to talk through while I'm demonstrating, so you can tell that there's no camera tricks and no accusations of me slowing things down. So here's what the system, my system at least, looks like. So it's a Outrunner motor. It's a cute little thing. It does get a little warm, but don't let that scare you away or anything. The Reefs 179 servo is incredible. I am running it at 6.5 volts. Can go up to 8.4, I believe, to give it 179 ounces of torque, which for a micro is nuts. So hopefully there will be maybe different ESCs in the future where you can bump up the BEC or an external BEC. We'll see. But I'm going to demonstrate, while telling you guys a story, how slow this thing crawls. All right. So when I bought this TRX4M Defender, all right, it's doing it right now. It's actually moving, believe it or not. When I bought this thing, I took the body, right? I'm holding the same amount of throttle, by the way, and I'm still talking. So I'm trying to show how slow you can get this thing to crawl. But anyways, this is a hard body, right? So one of the modifications and upgrades that I did was I took the, I think I took the windows out, which are removable, and then I took a Dremel. It was super ghetto how I did it, but it works and it looks good enough for me. It might not look good enough for you, but it looks good enough for me, and that's the beauty of the RC hobby. So I cut most of the cab out. I removed the back door handles, since, you know, now it's not a 4-door, it's a single cab pickup truck. And I glued popsicle sticks together. Look at that. I glued popsicle sticks together and cut them and made like a cute little wooden flatbed. And I also, oh, it's still moving. I also took the front bumper off. Okay, so I understand why everybody likes like the whole scale thing, and everybody's obsessed with like things looking like actual cars and trucks and all that. But this gets in the way of letting this do what it can do. And while it's still crawling, it's still moving. Crazy. I'm going to put the body on. You don't need, it's a little tricky after you do this, I'm not going to lie. There we go. Wheels are still moving. Give it a little more throttle. Wheels are moving better. Little more throttle. Little more throttle. I'll put a screenshot right here of my my graphs. This is tunable, so you can adjust the throttle. You can adjust the telemetry, which is amazing. Here's the reef servo, by the way. Again, on 6.5 volts. It's either 5 volts or 6.5 volts that you can run the BEC on with the FureTech setup. Now, why have I done the upgrades along with the RC all-wheel drive brass wheels? This is a hard body. You need more weight down low, or else this thing's just going to tip all over the place. Being a hard body and being plastic, when I had all this plastic up here too, this thing was not fun to drive. For the people out there that you can appreciate how scale it looks and you like that it can't really do much at all, I sound negative when I say that. I honestly don't mean it that way. That's just how I see it and how I understand it. It's like the scale thing is like you want it as challenging as it can be, limiting performance so it can look more real. I would rather have something that looks pretty freaking cool in my mind, my opinion, and be able to rock the trails, rock everything else, and rock crawl. Okay, so the stock tires, I don't think they're too bad. I wish there was like a 1/4 of an inch bigger tires than these, because being an 18th scale, I don't know if it's 18th scale or not. Being an 18th scale, having, you know, slightly bigger tires, I wouldn't get hung up a lot. I get hung up on the center a lot. So if someone's making a flat skid for this soon, can there be a flat skid made? I don't know. But anyways, this thing now is a blast to drive. And here's my point. I didn't like this thing. A lot of people don't like these things. So they're fun, blah, 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 blah. But when you come from the 24th scale community, the 10th scale community, the 6th scale community, bashing, or if you're brand new to crawling, stock, you're not going to like this thing, okay? And as far as the whole running a brushless system on the 2S, the ring gear and the pinion gear are plastic, so you can strip them, you can shred them, blah, blah, blah. Now, if your truck is like all up in some rocks and it's like super tight and the body's like hung up on something, you won't break plastic stuff as much if you just be a little responsible. I'm going to run the plastic as long as I can. I have my FMS FCX24 with the plastic portal gears, which if you're into these, you know very well that they strip out very easily. I'm running the Little Guy Racing parts. I think these are the Trail Kings on this thing, and imagine that, bigger tires, stock system. I've never stripped the plastic portals in this, because if it gets caught in a bind, I'm just like, I don't want to break anything. I just take it out, plop it somewhere else, and it's fine. So with removing the bumper, does it really look that bad? Am I really going to be looking at it like this the whole time? No, I'm not. So I don't care. So just remove it. Just remove it. You're going to be so much happier with this thing, okay? As far as the reef servo goes, too, by the way, you can get a special mount, like a servo mount. They're like $12 or $15 or something like that. Really not that bad. Or you can just take a Dremel and then just eyeball everything. Like, I'm not an engineer. I was a mechanic, but that's besides the point. I've been in healthcare for like 12 years. You can Dremel things down. You can just look, okay, I think I need to trim that part to fit. I need to trim that part to fit. I need to trim a little bit right there, a little bit right there. And actually looking at it, I didn't need to trim right there or right there either. So you just had to trim down where the servo mounts onto. Another upgrade that I've done, highly recommend it, is the crawler gear set from Traxxas that should have came stock, but it didn't, and it's like $6. I have wheels, stock tires. I have the Furatech Micro Komodo, and I think it's the Lizard Pro ESC. I have the Reefs Micro Smart 179. It is a programmable servo. That is too fancy for me, so I don't know what that means, and I'm not going to touch it. So yeah, wheels, motor computer, servo, body modifications, remove the bumper so you can actually crawl up things, and let's get into it. All right, we're at the outdoor course now. Just going to get right into it. Now, I don't know if anybody makes overdrive for these things yet, but it could definitely benefit from it, especially being a hard body. It kind of just throws a little bit more of the weight up top, so on steeper climbs they can get a little top heavy, like right now. But the Furatech system, we're able to crawl so slow that you can finesse lines like that. The stock system right there, you would not be able to do that. Now, usually, to be honest, I actually test. I'm going to talk you through it so you don't think that I'm like doing some weird transition. Sit on my pink chair. I usually, oh, we're going to push that forward too. That's usually where that goes. I was running my UTB 18 capper here. And that thing is too big for small courses like this. But anyways, I usually test out courses with the cars and then make sure they can do certain lines before I actually film it. This is the first time on this setup that I've ran the outdoor course. So we're just going to learn together. All right, we're going to give it a little bump over. Now with the Traxxas crawler gear set, you do lose some wheel speed, but with the Micro Komodo system, you actually just, I think I ended up with more wheel speed compared to the stock ESC, the stock electronics, and the stock gear set. But like right now, if I had the stock electronics, I'm going to pause for a moment. If I had the stock electronics, this thing would tip over because you can't finesse it. I can give it 1% throttle. It's moving right now. I don't know if you can tell on the camera. It's so crazy. And I want that back left to come down first. And then I'm going to steer to the right. So the right will connect to that rock right down there. And then we'll be able to complete this line and get out real easy. You can give it a little more throttle now. There we go. Just like that. That is why I love driving this thing again. And it's unfortunate because I was actually really excited about this thing, but these things bone stock are just, I'm sorry, they are an utter disappointment. All right, so this test right here kind of checks like how well the truck can side hill. I know I need to kind of power up. All my other rigs, same thing. Now I have a Furatech system, my SCX24, and it's crazy. It is so wild what that thing can do and how slow you can crawl. The FOC feature, which I think means field oriented control. Put a subtitle if I'm wrong, I'll look that up right now. But essentially just quick processing of that. It's like cruise control, okay? So it's a little servo wiggle out of this. So FOC, think of it as cruise control. When you're using cruise control in your car and you're coming up to a hill, what happens? The engine will match the load required to give you the same total speed of the vehicle. That's kind of what FOC does. There we go. I'm gonna try to get right up on that rock. Kind of unloading the front tire. There we are. Gently drive into it. And Furatech and Reefs for the win. All right, so how I said I wish I had bigger tires earlier, there's two caveats about that. The bigger the tire, the taller the center of gravity is going to be, and then the more the truck is going to be prone to tipping. So you have more ground clearance because you have a taller tire, but your center of gravity is off. So again, I think it just kind of comes down to everybody's driving style. Like right now, I am struggling with this line, but I think we'll be able to make it. I mean, I'm like Tony Hawk's pro skatering this line right now, a little 50-50 grind. Now I don't want that front left to slip off, but I don't want that front right to dig down into that crevice too much. So this is where the FureTech really comes into play. And I'm able to just finesse it. The servo, more than enough strength, more than enough power. The front diff is kind of clicking up too much. I know that back right is connected, so that's giving us some traction. And there we go, golden. That is what makes me enjoy this hobby. All right, let's get up. We're out there. Now I want that front right, the whole truck, to be positioned in a little bit more. I don't want the back to move, I want the front to move. So we're going to use the servo to do that. Give a little more gas, get it out of that angle. There we go. There we are, there we are. Let's see, can we make it across? I think something actually happened with setting my endpoints when I switched to this receiver. So I'm gonna have to look at that, or this transmitter, not receiver, because I don't think I have as much of a steering angle as I do with the stock setup. There we go, check that out. Oh, we gotta give it a little more juice. There we go. All right, last bit for the outdoor course. We're gonna go up the mountain and down the mountain. These are literally slides that a neighbor was throwing away. And I hit them with spray foam and spray paint. Insulation foam and spray paint primer with some textured spray paint just for the added grip. Made some reels with this on Instagram. They did really good. Made me some good money. Got a lot of hate comments too. I had people that were like, why are you playing with a children's slide? Or I had some people that were like, an innocent child could be using that. You're so mean for taking it. I'm like, dude, it's literally missing a leg. It's broken. All right, but this is why we did it last. A little wet down here. Hit it with the blow dryer, the leaf blower earlier to try to get it dry. You know, the thing about crawling is once your tires get wet, say goodbye to your grip, say goodbye to your traction. So that's why I try to just crawl in dry conditions. All right, indoor course time. Out of the 4 that I've built, 1, 2, 3, 4 was kind of a joke. This was my 3rd one that I actually built, and my most favorite. I made that rope bridge by hand. Now right here, that back right just doesn't get enough grip. I've thought about hitting it with textured spray paint, but I feel like that would be cheating. Because, you know, I guess it's a scale thing. There's no textured spray paint on logs outside when you're crawling, so there we go. A little bit of wheel speed. Slow crawl up. Let me get into a better position. All right, we're gonna see if we can make it across the popsicle stick bridge. This requires finesse, and that's what the FureTech is for, finesse. All right, now this is a course right here that I'm really not a fan of. It's basically all just primer, actually. I forgot to hit it with textured spray paint, and I'm too lazy to take it outside and just fix it up the right way. Textured spray paint and trimming out some of these little poop mountains would improve this a lot, but I might be donating this course to someone so they can have their kids use it, and make a new one. Let's make it across that bridge. Finessing it with the Furatech. There we are. All right, so we're gonna go up Death Mountain now. I call it Death Mountain because of the skulls and the bones. Now, no animals were harmed in the making of this video. I actually go mushroom hunting in the spring and the fall for morels, chanterelles, oysters, turkey tail, pheasant back, whatever it's called. In the fall, you get your chicken of the woods, your hen of the woods, and when I find bones, I keep them because I like putting them on courses. So the original plan with this was black for obvious reasons. Keep it metal, you know. Music choice, if anybody you know, has the same music choice as me. I listen to a lot of metalcore, so you know, like your Haste the Day, As They Lay Dying, Norma Jean, Devil Wears Prada. Not huge on like Slipknot, all those other super hard bands. So this is a pretty tricky obstacle. It's like a little V-crack valley. Longer wheelbase, you kind of gotta get it positioned right first and then gas over it so the center is past the point where it's gonna get hung up on, but then you wanna stop it at the right time, just like that. And then you just slow crawl up it. Now I built this for 24s, so they're not as wide as this. So I'm literally kind of wiggling the front tires through that left where the foam is. It does get hung up on that a little bit. These stock tires, I don't think they're awful, but I definitely think like Hyrax or something would be better because right up here, we end up needing wheel speed to get out of here. You kind of got to back it up a hair and then give it sauce and swing to the right and then cross your fingers. Let's go. Try giving a little more wheel speed, a little bit more distance. There we go.